Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to J Wall Sports. We are back here with another episode.
Another one. Hey, Pistol, our receiver, hit my line. Hit my line.
What is up with you in this? When you bench your seasoned veteran quarterback this late in the season, it's sending a message to the team.
Then goes out, and now they want to play with some heart. They want to play with some effort.
I see why Doc got fired. If you're not gonna make the adjustments as a coach, you need to go up and get up out of here.
Wentz has regressed, and it's a mental. I mean,
Disclaimer: he might have some outrageous, Max Kellerman type, things to say today. I don't know what he's gonna say, but the way he's starting off his video is giving me them vibes. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of J Wall Sports. As always, your guy LaMark Jr. and Nyshawn Anderson. Man, how you doing?
I'm good, bro. Football is back. So
Yes,
I'm back.
sir.
You feel me?
Hey, whoa! Don't say that. You ain't went nowhere. Your prediction is gonna be just as worse as the word for basketball as they're gonna be.
But who won the predictions in basketball? I'll wait.
All right. So before we start this show off, we're gonna shout out our alma mater, Winston-Salem State University. As you see, we're both repping the Winston hats. We'll be representing the Winston
Alumni.
hats, picking up for our WSSU Rams. They take on North Carolina Central this weekend, September 18th. Guys, be there. Be loud. Bring the red sea, because you already know we're gonna put the smack down on Central. Yes, sir.
Somebody say SU.
SU.
Yes, sir.
Oh man, it brings back memories. I miss it already.
Bro, who are you? Hey, basketball season coming up too, man. The schedule don't drop.
I may not pop out for football. And I'm sorry, football players, if you hear. I may not pop out for football because the weather, the elements, they not my friend. But basketball, oh, you best believe I'm gonna pop out there.
But it's
All right.
But it's football season, bro. It's football season.
It's football season. I'm actually hyped. It's been a really great weekend. To cap off week one, we had the Ravens versus the Raiders, and it was one for the books. So the Ravens and Raiders, they went down to the wire. Raiders thought they had won the game in overtime. Look right here, you can see the game-winning play. Derek Carr, 31-yard touchdown reception to Zay Jones to get the 33-27 win. Nyshawn, in one word, how would you describe that game?
One word. Trying to think of a good word, man.
That game made you speechless?
Man, I caught the tail end of it. I want to say this football, bro. That's just football.
Yeah, I'd have to go wow. I was not expecting that kind of ending from the Raiders versus the Ravens. No, Lamar Jackson, he looked really good.
Inside the pocket and outside the pocket.
Right. You can see the improvements that he had. All right, so let's start things off. Week one of the NFL season has come to a conclusion. We've already said that. And the rookies, they were just as exciting as the vets. But Nyshawn, which player had the best rookie debut?
I'm gonna have to go with my boy. Well, he's not my boy, but I did predict him to be the offensive rookie of the year, Zach Wilson. Even though he didn't have an outstanding game, the Panthers defense was giving Zach fits all throughout the game, giving him steady pressure, steady hits. He was sacked, I believe 4 or 5 times throughout the game. But he stayed resilient throughout the game. He progressed. First half was really terrible. Second half, he came out and did his thing. He figured some things out. He scrambled outside the pocket and threw 2 beautiful touchdown passes in the second half, and he finished the game 20 of 37 with 258 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. And as a rookie, in your first game on the road in a hostile environment, defense is giving you fits. He stepped up when his team needed him to, and it could have went either way. I'm a Panthers fan, but it honestly could have went either way. There was a couple of drop passes by the Jets receivers that really could have changed the momentum of the game. But as a rookie quarterback coming in on the road, hostile environment, he was resilient, stayed with the game plan, and they almost put out a victory. So I'm gonna give it to Zach.
And man, Zach was a really good choice. Zach was my second pick, but I couldn't deny the man who almost threw for 400 yards, and that's Trevor Lawrence. To me, he had the best rookie performance. In his first game, he threw for 332 yards, which was first amongst rookies and seventh amongst all quarterbacks in the NFL for week one. He had the second most yards per throw amongst rookies. He had the most touchdowns amongst rookies with 3, and he was tied 5th for all quarterbacks in NFL. Like that right there just showed me like he was balling. He had 3 touchdowns, but
3 interceptions as well.
Hey, in your first game, I can be okay with that for one reason and one reason only. It's about who you go to. The only other person I could really put in front of Trevor Lawrence is Mac Jones, because Mac Jones went out and he blew my mind on how well he played, because I was not expecting Mac Jones to play this well and be that commanding of the offense as he was. But I have to say it's who you go to. So if like with Mac Jones went to a perfect situation. Mac Jones went to a situation where he will be in a lot of games like he was against me. Trevor Lawrence, he has to do everything, and I think he realized that. About at the end of the first half, he's like, "Yo, I really got to do everything," because he's never been around a team that wasn't at the top compared to everybody else in his league. Like I saw after the game, there was like that was his first regular season loss ever. He ain't got a regular season loss in high school. He didn't get a regular season loss in college, but in his NFL debut, he got one. Now, my thing is if you switch those quarterbacks on teams, so you put Mac Jones onto Jacksonville and you put Trevor Lawrence on to the Patriots, the narrative that we're talking about and that we're opening the show with would be how Tua got outplayed by a rookie quarterback, and not which rookie quarterback had the best debut.
Make a point, but when you throw for 3 interceptions, it kind of cancels out everything.
Because both quarterbacks had better targets.
Huh? Say that again?
Both quarterbacks had better targets, meaning Zach Wilson and Mac Jones both had they had better and more reliable targets to throw the ball to.
Multiple drops by his receivers in the Jets games, though. Elijah Moore dropped 3 open passes.
Right.
That's not better in my opinion. They're dropping it.
I mean, yeah.
And the Patriots really don't have that many options on the receiving core.
They don't, but it's compared to what Zach Wilson has and compared to what Trevor Lawrence has, he has the best of the 3.
That's debatable.
Okay. That's debatable.
Moving on to some more football before Max Kellerman gives us another tape.
I know you're not calling me Max Kellerman, guys.
Moving on to the game of the day, the Chiefs versus the Browns. The Browns came out the gate strong against the Kansas City Chiefs, but couldn't sustain the lead as they gave up a 12-point lead to Patrick Mahomes, who totaled for 337 yards of 27 of 37 attempts and threw for 3 touchdown passes. Who are you more impressed with in this AFC matchup between the Browns and the Chiefs?
All right, so I'm most impressed with the Browns as a whole. They blew me away. The way Baker Mayfield played, the way he had control of the offense, that I was not expecting it. I knew they were gonna come in big, against the Chiefs because that was a great AFC rivalry. But wow, I really was shocked about how well they played. Baker Mayfield, he hit multiple targets as he, did a lot last year. They scored on almost every attempt. They had to punt one time the entire game, and that came in like late in the fourth, not late in the fourth quarter, but like midway through the fourth quarter. That's when the punt came. Um, the defense played really well. They in the beginning they were giving Patrick Mahomes and that Chiefs offense some troubles, but then they just started to figure it out because you have one of the best young quarterbacks in the game right now, and you have Andy Reid, who is an offensive guru. So eventually they were going to get worn down, but to hang around and to have that 12-point lead the entire for majority of the game, they play really well against other teams in the NFL. That they'll come out with a win. They'll go down. They'll score some more touchdowns. They weren't able to get any touchdowns, in the third quarter. That's when the Chiefs really got them in that third quarter. They was able to come back. They weren't able to score, but overall, I was very impressed. Very impressed. When they get OBJ back, it's going to be even more trouble. And I can't remember that head coach name, but he play calling all around 10 out of 10. He was designing some things that was really taking the Chiefs defense for, a loop.
I have to agree with you, man. The Browns, they played a great game. And last year, they showed that, they weren't a team to be taken lightly. And this year, the beginning of the season, Chiefs, Super Bowl, they lost last year and they won Super Bowl year before. I think the Browns are showing that they can be a contender in this league, and the league needs to put some respect on their name. They came in the Arrowhead. They played a great game, like you said. Baker played really well. 21 to 28, 321 passing yards. Nick Chubb and Hunt, they did the job in the run game. And like you said, OBJ didn't play, so if he can throw for 321 yards and not have his number one target there, just imagine what the offense will look like when he comes back. And they have that rookie and Schultz can really take the top off the defense as well with his speed. So it's only up. And like you said, the defense, they did a part Jadeveon County and Myles Garrett. I feel like they're going to wreak havoc on the AFC. So it's going to be interesting to see how the league can take the Browns being a contender this year.
Right. And can we also take a second to talk about that Chiefs O-line? I mean, Patrick Mahomes was scrambling just to scramble sometimes, and you got two former number one overall picks on both edges. That's hard. That's hard to cover. And that line did a really great job. Shout out to the GM, head coach, everybody who was a part of that, getting that revamped O-line in there.
Yeah, because Super Bowl, he's a runner. He's a track star.
Right. Nobody in the Chiefs organization wants Patrick Mahomes running for 500 yards, scrambling, not rushing, just running back and forth, east to west. He not going north south. He went east and west the entire game, 500 yards.
Was doing suicides.
Might as well have been gassers. That's what football players call them, gassers. Mm-hmm. All right. Oh, in his first game as a Carolina Panther, Sam Darnold not only got the win over his former team, but rookie Zach Wilson didn't make it easy as he drove 93 yards to get his second touchdown of the game and cut the lead down to 5. Jets tried to cut the lead down to 3 on a 2-point conversion, but came up short. Now, Sean, what grade would you give these two quarterbacks?
This is a non-biased response to everybody that's watching. Even though I am a Panthers fan, I'm gonna give Darnold an A-. He had a strong performance in the first round with his new team, playing against his old team in the first half. He played a really great game, 17 to 22 with over 200 yards passing and a touchdown pass. Second half, I'm gonna give it to the offensive coordinator. That play call in the second half was lackluster, to say. but he was still able to make some plays in the third and fourth quarter to seal the victory for his team. And he did finish, 2 touchdown passes, no interceptions. It's a clean, safe game. He knew what to do. He knew to get the ball to Christian McCaffrey if he ever was in a time of need. I would like to see him spread the ball around some more. But for your first starter home and perform the way he did, no turnovers, even though he did have that fumble, that's why he get that A-. I feel like that fumble.
He gets an A- for a fumble?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
What you think this is, man? Come on now.
You gave him an A- for a fumble. Okay. Go ahead.
He could have had a plus. That fumble messed it up. It was 10-0. We could have went up 17-0 right there.
My point exactly. And that's why I gave Sam Darnold a B-. I gave him a B because overall he could have played better than he did with the lineup that he has, the weapons that he has. Robbie Anderson, DJ Moore, Christian McCaffrey, an O-line that gives him protection. You should have been able to do more. He should have went up 17-0. He should have went up 17-7. This game should have not been close. No, he moved the chains.
Calling the second half was terrible.
Right. I mean, although play calling in the second half was terrible, he moved the chains. The entire game, he moved the chain. But when he got to the red zone or when he got 30 yards in, that's when they crumbled. Every time they got 30 yards in 3 times and they only scored 1 time. And that was a handoff to Christian McCaffrey. I mean, the 57-yard pass to Robbie Anderson, that wasn't within, near that red zone area. I think he should have been able to move the chains a lot better than he did to, get better red zone position for his team to score. But 279 yards and you only have one touchdown, that's not good. And you played the Jets all last season. Besides the Jets, 2, I'm gonna call them miracle wins over. Forgot who they got those 2 wins over. They got 2 wins. One was over the Browns, and I think one was over. It was another playoff team. They got a win against. Oh, it was against New England. It wasn't a playoff team. It was against New England. Those 2 miracle wins. I don't know how they got those, but those shouldn't happen because besides those 2 wins, it was 1 game. They were within a touchdown. Every other game, you look down now, they did have a touch schedule. They played 8 playoff teams last year, but they were not in a touchdown radius for every game besides 3 games the entire season.
You also have to give credit to the new head coach, Robert Saleh, who was a defensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers that year that went to the Super Bowl. He's a great defensive-minded coach, and you can see that second half, they really stiffen up on the Panthers. And at the same time, you got to give the Jets defense some credit.
Right. I'm not trying to take anything away from the Jets defense. I'm not trying to take it away from Robert Saleh in his first, debut as a head coach. But I don't think that game should have been close. I think the Panthers can be a playoff team. If not a playoff team, they're knocking right on that door, not making that wild card game. I think to do that, I think they should have played better. They should have scored more in the red zone. Aaron Darnold, he's not a rookie. This is not his second year. He's in year 3. I just expected him to play better with weapons because we talked about this on J-Ball Sports, how I thought that a new start for Aaron Darnold would be the fix for, Sam. The new team for Sam, the new team for Sam Darnold was going to be the key to him rejuvenating his career.
Hey, it's only week 1, and you have a lot of stuff to build off of, and like you made some great points, and I believe we will see changes, and the red zone efficiency will go up.
All right. So, what you got for Zach Wilson? What'd you give him?
I gave him a B+. Like I said earlier, when I gave him his props for the offensive rookie degree, He had a first half, but he stayed with the game plan, and he looked a lot better the second half. He had some big plays, and like you say, he had a 93-yard drive for the second touchdown. And I wasn't expecting him to come out the second half and play the way he did, but he showed his own resilience and showed that he is a leader and can lead this team. And I think the last episode when I gave him the probable offensive rookie of the year, how Aaron Rodgers gave him props, and hey, I can see why he honestly gave him some props. Preseason is one thing, but to come out on the road and have a terrible first. He was like 2 of 10 at one point in the first half, and that 93-yard drive was really impressive. And he kept his team in the game and cut the lead to 9-5, and wasn't enough because the Panthers, kept the ball going. But I give him a B plus, and honestly, they kind of won the game. A couple drops, a couple missed plays, so I give him a B plus. Offensive line looks terrible though.
Yeah. Because I think it was like the first quarter. I was watching the game for a while before I thought it got out of hand, and I switched to something else. But in the first quarter, there like the first 2-3 drives, there was not a pass that he made in the pocket. There was not a pass that he made on 2 feet. Everything was a scramble. He was running from his life. I had PTSD flashbacks from when Patrick Mahomes was running around scrambling for his life in the Super Bowl game, looking at Zach Wilson scramble. But I gave him a B plus because he did more with less. Like I said, last season, there were the Jets, they weren't in a lot of games. They were out of a lot of games, and what he did and how he was able to have command of the offense and how he was able to march down the field to get the 93-yard drive to put them within 5. That in his first game, that's a very veteran move. We expect to see Aaron Rodgers make that kind of play. They just didn't convert on the 2-point conversion. If they converted that 2-point conversion, it's a 3-point game. Now we're looking at an onside kick. Now we know onside kicks are very improbable to get nowadays. We did see one onside kick be recovered by the kicking team yesterday. I'm not 100% sure which team did it, but yeah, that would have been a difficult situation for them to get through. But I think they probably could have got something out of there, especially how you talked about the defense in the second half. I think the defense probably would be able to pull out a stop, and then I think he probably would have drove down and got a field goal, to win the game or send it to overtime.
Now you say he did more with less, but earlier you say he had more than Trevor Lawrence. So how does that translate?
More with less compared to what Sam Darnold had with the Panthers. Because we're comparing the two quarterbacks. So I gave Zach Wilson a higher grade because stat for stat, score for score, he did just about the same that Sam Darnold did, but he just didn't come up with the win. All his stats
about
are
Trevor Lawrence.
So you're getting those 2 points confused. When I talked about Trevor Lawrence, I talked about okay. So when I talked about how Mac Jones had more than Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson. So, and to me, it goes per weapons, it goes Mac Jones, Zach Wilson, then Trevor Lawrence. Because we're talking about a team.
You did say he did more or less. So
I said Zach Wilson
did more or less.
Did more than Sam Darnold with less.
Okay.
There you go. I'm not comparing the 3 rookies to Zach Wilson. I'm comparing Zach Wilson's team to the Panthers.
Hey, I thought you just
don't try to. Nah, I was about to say, man, don't try to make the argument that he has more than Christian McCaffrey, Robert Anderson, and DJ Moore.
No, I was making a point where I thought you were just backtracking on your words. Saying,
oh no!
That Trevor,
two completely different scenarios. No. Zach Wilson had less than Sam Darnold.
Okay, Thought you was giving another match tape, man.
Nah. You ain't gonna catch me slipping, boy. I got it. I got it up here.
Hey, like you said, ain't gonna catch you slipping. So folks that are watching, he do be slipping.
I don't be slipping. You ain't never caught me slipping, so I don't be slipping.
Now maybe pull out the Shannon Sharp, LJ, skip.
You ain't got to do all that because you ain't never gonna catch me slipping because my takes are 100%.
We might have to do a poll on that though. I don't know.
Yeah, go ahead, do a poll on
it. All right. We will. And will. But now moving on to our last topic of the night. Green Bay, man, reigning MVP Aaron Rodgers underperformed. He and his team were held to only 3 points by the New Orleans Saints. On the other side of the ball, things went just as bad as Jameis Winston threw for 148 yards on 14 of 20 attempts and 5 touchdown passes. After the game, this is what Aaron Rodgers had to say.
It's just one game. We played bad. I played bad. Offensively, we didn't execute very well. One game. We got 16 to go.
LaMark, on a scale of 1 to 10, how worried should the Packers be?
I want to say like a 3 or a 4 because, wow, 3 points in the entire game, 3 interceptions by Aaron Rodgers. I mean, Aaron Rodgers had just as many interceptions as he did points. That don't look good for me, but it's Aaron Rodgers. So I can look past it and say he's going to come back next week on Monday Night Football. I believe they are on Monday Night Football next. And so I'm gonna give it like a 7 or 8. We ain't really too worried. He dropped the ball one time. Reigning MVP. I think they'll be okay. But I am a little with that 7 to 8. That brings a little bit of concern, and my little bit of concerns are with Aaron Rodgers and the 3 interceptions. Those are very un-Aaron Rodgers like. As a team, they rushed for 43 yards. This was a problem last season. This is a problem Aaron Rodgers wanted addressed over the offseason, and it's still a problem, which is why we've had all these things about Aaron Rodgers contemplating retiring, and even more, saying I'll go to Jeopardy. Aaron Rodgers had a QBR of 13.5. He did hit 10 different targets, so he was distributing the ball. They just weren't able to move the ball efficiently and score. They gave up 171 rushing yards to, Alvin Kamara, who led the way, and the rest of the Saints. And Jameis Winston, he just picked apart that team one by one in the passing game. I expected this defense to be a lot better. Jameis Winston, he distributed the ball like a point guard out there, hit 8 different targets.
I'm about the same, about 3 or 4. I am not worried about the offense at all. Like I did call it last season in the NFL, Aaron Rodgers will be the MVP. And I do believe he will be the MVP again. We'll go back and watch the tape if you want to verify it again. Just to let people know I did become these predictions right.
I vouch for you. You did say it was gonna be Aaron Rodgers.
I'm not worried about this offense because Aaron Rodgers is gonna be Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams is gonna be Devontae Adams, and they have other weapons.
So you're not worried about the run game?
I'm worried about the defense.
You're not worried about the run game?
Defense win championships. If y'all can't stop Jameis Winston, who was 30 for 30 just 2 years ago, and I ain't talking about no ESPN special. I mean, they couldn't stop a car if the traffic light was on red. Hell, I might have could have thrown one, honestly.
You was gonna throw a check down to Kamara?
He gonna get 70. Wasn't it against Green Bay? He took it last season.
What you mean?
And that dump off screen play, he was just jogging down the side. That was against Green Bay last year.
I don't know.
I'm telling you, I know. Because I remember Jair Alexander coming because Kamara was about to hurdle his defender, his blocker, Jai Alexander coming to the side, little boy, weight room, and he jogged into the end zone. He jogged about 70 yards on that play, and the defense is out there. The run game ain't gonna do nothing.
So you're not worried about the run game at all?
No, I'm worried. I said that wrong. I'm just saying, defense win championships. Defense gonna get you that stop that put the ball back into Aaron Rodgers' hands.
I understand that, but if I know that they can't run, I'm gonna sit my safety back. I'm gonna sit the safeties back all game. My safeties are not gonna be within about 15 yards of the line of scrimmage. If you can't bring your safeties in to help on that run game because they think the front seven and your two linebackers can handle it, you're not going to get anything downfield. Devontae Adams is not going to be open. He's going to be open on 5-yard cutbacks every time because he's Devontae Adams, a brilliant route runner. But he's not going to be able to be open down the field because he's going to be double teamed. That's why that's another reason they needed Will Fuller. They should have got Will Fuller, but they couldn't get Will Fuller or a second comparable receiver to go with Devontae Adams because now, Aaron Rodgers, all he gonna do is hit Devontae Adams. Oh, my secondary corner that he can strap up your secondary receiver, and we gonna put my number one corner and my number one safety on Devontae Adams. He's not getting nothing. He's not getting nothing long.
I'm not worried about the defense. I do believe they can address the run game. They drafted A.J. Dillon. I believe they need to go back to a more of a power run game. You saw a couple years ago, that's about 5 or 6, honestly, when they had Eddie Lacy and how Aaron Rodgers looked then.
A whole football player.
Hey, but Eddie
I'm
Lacy,
just trying to let you know that how long they'll go. Yeah, Eddie Lacy was a good power back, but I think it's also that line. I'm not too sure about that line, man. I don't know. I have faith in Aaron Rodgers because Aaron Rodgers does Aaron Rodgers things, but I want Aaron Rodgers out of Green Bay at this point.
Yeah, me too. But I do believe maybe they switch it up, get into a more of a power run game. Because A.J. Dillon is a bit back. He had a fabulous career at Boston College. I believe they give him some more touches. Let him go inside. Aaron Jones is not meant to be running through the tackles. He is not Christian McCaffrey. He is not A.J. Dillon. Dalvin Cook, he is not Philip Lindsay. He is not. He just ain't meant to go through the hole like that.
You're not that guy, pal. You're not that guy.
You're not that guy, buddy. Great in the receiving game, though.
Right. He's a good speed back. There we go. He's a speed back. But that's all we got for you guys today. Appreciate you guys for tuning in to another episode of J-Wall Sports. We will be back this week to give you our NFL predictions for week 2. We missed you guys on week 1. We apologize about that. Lots of technical difficulties we had going on. But yeah, we will be back for week 2 this week to give you our predictions. So stay tuned for that. If you haven't already, and if you don't follow us for 26 episodes and you ain't followed us, yeah, I don't know what you're doing.
What are you doing?
Right. So follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at JWall Sports for the latest updates on anything that we do, whether it be the new podcast episodes, new updates on new things that we have coming up for the podcast. Because we have some big announcements coming up. So stay tuned for those, where we post highlights, final game graphics. We need you guys to spam the likes in the comments, share it everywhere you can. If you guys
tell
do
your
that,
mama, tell your barber to play us in the shop. Barbershop conversation. We can do it all. And I mean,
right? Tell your grandpa.
Let's turn it on.
Yep. We do appreciate everybody who's following us. We are at 50 subscribers on YouTube. Clap it up, clap it up. Yes, sir. We are at 98 followers on Twitter. So if you guys can get us to 100, we will really appreciate that. And we are I believe we are almost at 50 on Instagram. So you guys can get us to those numbers. We will greatly appreciate you guys. And we out.
Please. We out.